you keep reloading every year?
Well, as you said, we've had some tremendous success over the last 3 years. It's definitely going to be kind of a turning of the tide this year. Graduated 5 seniors last year, so we're definitely transitioning right now.
Okay, in that transition, though, talk to me about how the past experience and how you won will carry over for the people this year.
Well, for one thing, we've got Grant Gregory returning. He's only a junior, so he's been to state with that team the last 2 years. We actually talked at practice the other day. We haven't actually lost a match since I've got here as the boys coach. So we do still have some things that we want to continue, but we also realize that with 1 returning player and 4 new kids playing varsity golf, that they've got some big shoes to fill.
Talk to me about some of your new kids.
We've got several freshmen who have a chance to play on the varsity team. Logan Curtis is going to probably be able to make the varsity team. We've got Jake Hodges, who played baseball last year, who's and who I see could potentially get some varsity time. We've got Andrew Perry, who is an upperclassman but didn't play golf last year. He's going to play this year. I think he'll have a pretty good chance to make the varsity team. And then of course we got Grant returning, so he's going to be one of the better players in the district. He's been a state qualifier the last 2 years. And then we've got another freshman, Ben Bolden, who I feel like is already one of the better players in the district and has a chance to make it into the postseason. Look, I expect him to.
With a young team, how important is it to have 3 out of your first 4 meets at home?
It definitely will benefit us to play at home. We haven't been able to get out on the course yet this year. We've been hitting a lot of balls into the into the net. We're going to try to get out there a little bit this week, at least if not on the putting green. But I do think that, especially where we have cold weather conditions around here in northeast Missouri, I definitely think it helps to play at home your first couple matches, especially for those kids who have never actually teed it up in a varsity match and been accountable for all their strokes and all that stuff. So that'll be nice.
With all this rotten weather as a coach, what do you do to keep your kids sharp, or what can you do?
Well, we've ran, they started out running a mile as a warm-up. I've had them run up to 2 miles. We've been doing some weight conditioning. Like I said, we've been hitting in, we have a mat that we set up inside, and we've been hitting into the net. And then actually last Friday we divided up the teams, and we got inside the gym and we ran some 4-on-4 basketball for about an hour and just tried to get a little sweat, get a little conditioning in. Because for those kids that are freshmen, have never carried their bags for 9 holes, there is some conditioning that goes into being able to play the game, at least the way I want them to play it. So that's what we've been focusing on so far.
You wouldn't think about that in golf, but you do get tired, especially if you got a hilly course, and it's the end, and that's when those strokes are really important in those last 2 or 3 holes. So it's a method to your madness. I
think being able to control your golf ball for an entire day, there's some significant conditioning that goes into that, especially when it gets towards the postseason, towards district and sectional time. At state, for instance, my first year as a coach at state, the first day was almost 90 degrees. So you got kids, coming out not being used to it. They got to go out and play 18 holes and carry their bag in 90-degree heat. That's, you're looking at 5 or 6 or 7 mile, depending on what course you're playing, you're looking at a 6-mile walk with a lot of weight on your back. So we definitely try to get them in shape to be able to make good swings, late in the day.
And the key in golf is the team score, is you get them bunched up. So if you have Grant zooming above everybody else, it's important to get those next 4 guys bunched together and playing together.
Well, our goal is to get all of our varsity players to be able to break 50 on 9 holes or 100 on 18 holes. That's our first goal. And then we take it from 100 or 50 to 90 or 40 or 45 on 9 holes. And we try to whittle it off 5 or so strokes at a time, but our initial goal is 50, and then we'll try to work it down from there. But that's what we're shooting for to start the season off.
You're more of a short game coach?
Definitely.
Talk to me about that.
My experience in teaching the game of golf comes mostly around the short game. So before I was teaching and I was working in the golf business, I did a lot of teaching short game. So I think that's where you can save the most strokes in this game, especially at a young age. So if you can, advance the ball in the direction of the hole, once you get it down by the green, if you can get it in 2 or 3 strokes, usually that saves quite a few off of somebody that shoots a 60 for 9 holes. So that's what I try to focus on, especially early in the years, eliminating those strokes around the greens.
Is it tough to get your kids to buy into that?
It's really not, because they all see how much better they become at the game when they start from the hole and work their way out. And so when you have a player like Grant, who's gotten improved tremendously over the last couple of years, whenever he can speak and say, if you guys will do this, your scores will be much lower 2 years from now, because he can attest to that, and it's happened to him. So it's really not hard to get them to buy into it when they can see results and see the success we've had.
Plus, it's almost like playing a hole backwards. I got people
Right.
go long par 5s, and I go, just pretend it's a par 4 after you hit your first shot. When you
Right.
play it backwards, I mean,
Right.
it doesn't seem like it's that long. What are your goals for the team for this year?
My goals for the team for this year are to continue our match streak. We take great pride in being, one of the better schools of around in this area playing golf. So we want to try to make sure that we're still being successful on the course, but also our main goals are to get some of these younger kids interested and familiar with the game, wanting to practice on their own in the summer, and look to fill some shoes of some really great players that have graduated. So that's what we're trying to do this year.
And you brought that up once before. You got a lot of freshmen. It's different to have a little bit of a pressure where it's one thing when you're going out and playing. It's another thing where every shot does count, and you got a little pressure on you for every
Right.
shot. Big difference there, isn't it?
Being able to golf with your friends on the weekend, or like non-competitively, is one thing, but whenever you have to be held accountable for every stroke you take, and for keeping your score accurately, for keeping your opponent's score accurately, there's a lot of pressure that comes in on that, and it takes time to get comfortable in those situations. So that's going to be something that I can help with. That's going to be something that Grant and my other couple upperclassmen can help the younger guys with. But then it's also just something that you have to acquire on your own. So they're going to have to get out there, and they're going to have to get the experience so that we can continue to improve.
Is Tiger Woods all the way back?
He's all the way back, 100% back. Yes. Putting